So you want to absolutely ace your NSCA CPT exam? Well, the secret is to stop thinking like a student and start thinking like a real trainer. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to walk through the entire journey with a brand new client, hitting all the key stuff from chapters 8 through 11. We're talking from their inner mindset all the way to their final physical assessment.
Okay, so here's our game plan. It's a four-part journey. First, we're going to get inside our client's head and figure out their psychology. Then, we'll cover that all-important first consultation. After that, we figure out our plan of attack, choosing the right tests. And finally, we'll get hands-on and walk through how to actually do them.
All right, first things first, let's talk mindset. Before you even dream of writing a workout plan, you have to understand what makes your client tick. What's their why? This is all about exercise psychology, and it's straight out of Chapter 8.
Now, this is a big one. You've basically got two flavors of motivation. Is your client intrinsically motivated, meaning they work out just for the pure fun and joy of it, or are they extrinsically motivated, chasing some kind of external prize, like looking good for a wedding? Figuring this out is everything, because your coaching style has to match. The intrinsic client needs fun and variety, while the extrinsic client might need charts and numbers to see their progress.
And this right here, this is basically the roadmap of your client's brain. You need to figure out where they are on this path. Are they in pre-contemplation, where exercise isn't even on their radar? Or are they way over in the maintenance phase, where fitness is already a solid habit? Knowing their stage is just crucial for setting goals they can actually hit without getting discouraged.
Okay, let's fast forward to that first official meeting. Now you get to switch hats. You're going to go from being a psychologist to being a detective. Your whole mission here is to gather the clues, all the essential health info, so you could build a program that's not just going to work, but it's going to be safe.
Your first line of defense, and you will see this on the exam, I promise, is the PAR Q. Think of it as your big red stop sign. It's a super simple questionnaire, but if your client answers yes to even one question, you stop. That's your cue to say, hey, you need to go see a doctor before we move forward. Safety is always number one.
So speaking of safety, you absolutely need to have these 8 coronary risk factors memorized. This is exam gold. We're talking about things like hypertension, that's high blood pressure, or dyslipidemia, which is just a fancy word for unhealthy cholesterol levels. Every single one of these that your client has adds to their overall risk profile.
So once you've tallied up those risk factors, you're going to sort your client into one of these 3 buckets: low, moderate, or high risk. And this isn't just for fun. This categorization tells you exactly what to do next. It determines whether or not that client needs to get clearance from a doctor before you start them on any kind of tough exercise program.
Okay, great news. Your client has been screened, they're cleared for takeoff. Now it's time to open up our trainer toolbox. This part is all about choosing the right assessments, tests that are both valid and reliable, so we can get a super accurate baseline of where they're starting from. Now, before we go any farther, let's get our terms straight. When we say a test is reliable, all we're talking about is consistency. It's simple, right? Think about your bathroom scale. If you step on it, step off, and step on again, and it gives you 3 totally different weights, that scale is not reliable. A reliable test gives you the same result again and again.
And listen up, because this is a classic exam question where they try to trip you up. A test can be reliable, meaning it's consistent, but not actually be valid. Validity asks a different question. Does this test actually measure what I think it's measuring? For instance, timing a 40-yard dash is a reliable test of speed, for sure, but it's not a valid test for someone's cardio. A great assessment has to be both.
This brings up a really common question on the exam. You've picked out your awesome, valid, and reliable tests, so now what? What's the right order to do them in so that you get the most accurate results possible?
Believe me, the order is a huge deal. If you do it wrong, fatigue from one test can totally tank the results of the next one. For your average client, you'll start with resting tests like blood pressure and finish up with the aerobic stuff. But for an athlete, it's different. You have to do the explosive tests, power, agility, speed, before you get to any of the endurance work. All right, theory's over. It's time for action. Let's get our hands dirty and walk through the proper how-tos for some of the biggest tests you are definitely going to be asked about. This is all about knowing the protocols. Let's start with the absolute basics, vital signs. You can't just slap a blood pressure cuff on and hope for the best. To get an accurate reading, you have to follow these steps to a T, from making sure they rest for 5 minutes beforehand to placing the stethoscope in just the right spot. Every little detail here matters. Now for body composition. Here's one of those slides where, yep, there's just no way around it. You've got to memorize these exact spots for skin fold measurements. Go make some flashcards right now for these sites. I promise you, it's going to pay off when you're sitting in that exam.
So when it's time to test someone's cardio, the YMCA cycle test is your best friend. And you know why? Because it's a sub-maximal test. That means we don't have to push our client to their absolute breaking point to get good data. We can actually estimate their aerobic fitness pretty accurately, which is so much safer for most people.
Okay, let's talk pure raw strength. For that, the gold standard is the 1 repetition maximum test, or 1RM. For big lifts like a bench press or a leg press, this is how you find out your client's true top-end strength. It's the baseline you need for writing a solid program.
But wait, strength isn't the whole story, right? We also need to know about endurance. How long can those muscles keep working? That's where the YMCA bench press test comes in. Notice the key differences here. It's a lighter, fixed weight, and you're keeping a specific rhythm, usually with a metronome.
And finally, we can't forget about flexibility. The good old sit and reach test, it's a classic for a reason. It's a simple, straightforward way to get a solid measurement of how flexible your client's lower back and hamstrings are.
So there we have it. We've gone on this whole journey with our new client. We've dug into their psychology, and we've got all this amazing hard data about their physical abilities. It's all laid out in front of you. So what's it all been for? What's the big finale that this has all been building toward?
The answer is program design. This is the moment. This is when all that detective work finally pays off. Now and only now can you take all of this info and build what every single client deserves. A training plan that is safe, that is effective, and that is truly, truly personalized to them. And that, my friends, is what being a great trainer is all about. Now go crush that exam.